Hello, you're watching Race to Power. I'm Shreya Upadhyay. On the show today, we talk about the death of a political stalwart in a plane crash. It has left a big void in Maharashtra's politics. We look into the life and politics and beyond of Ajit Pawar and speak with an expert on what's next for Ajit Pawar's NCP. We also shift our focus to United States of America, where Donald Trump has seemingly toned down the rhetoric on ICE offensive in Minnesota. Trump's borders are Tom Homan is in Minnesota, while internal fight has broken out in the Department of Homeland Security. All the details coming up. Let's begin with what happened in India today. The western state of Maharashtra has fallen silent today as one of its tallest leaders has died in a plane crash. And with the passing of Ajit Dada Pawar, Maharashtra is now staring at a major shift in its political landscape. The aircraft, a Learjet 45, took off from Mumbai in the morning and was headed to Baramati, Ajit Pawar's constituency since 1991. Besides Pawar, there were two other passengers along with a crew member and the pilot. The plane was being flown by Captain Shambhavi Pathak. According to flight radar, the aircraft was clear for landing and was attempting a second approach to Baramati when it crashed. Eyewitnesses say rescue efforts began after the crash, but multiple explosions in quick succession left no chance of survival. A deeper look at Ajit Pawar's political journey reflects how he grew to become one of the most important factors in Maharashtra's politics. Remember, he had started his political career back in 1991. And he's somebody who's considered as one of the most important leaders in modern-day Maharashtrian politics. His loss today, of course, not just leaves a shock and helplessness among the people of Maharashtra. Now, of course, also leads to the question of what will happen next. Remember, in 1991, he won the Lok Sabha election from Baramati. In the same year, he won the by-election also, and he retained his seat for 8 consecutive terms. Then in 2023, he broke ranks from his uncle Sharad Pawar's then NCP. And of course, he led the rebellion and legally retained the party name as well as symbol. That by far is his political journey. Remember, he eventually he joined the Eknath Shinde-led government. In 2024, he won the assembly polls from Baramati as well. He led the NCP to win 41 seats as part of the now Mahayuti alliance that is currently governing the state of Maharashtra. In 2024, he secured his final term as the deputy CM under Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis. That has been a long, more than 3-decade political tryst that Ajit Pawar has had. But now, looking at the top contenders, will Sunetra Pawar, his wife, also fondly called the Pawar Bahu, be at the helm of affairs? She's a Rajya Sabha member. She had contested from Baramati against Ajit Pawar's sister and her sister-in-law, Supriya Sule. She had lost that battle by over 1.5 lakh votes. A lot of speculation about whether Sunetra Pawar will now take over. Another key Pawar player is Parth Pawar, the elder son of Ajit Pawar. He had contested the Lok Sabha seat as well from Mawal Lok Sabha seat. But he's had a mixed electoral track record. So we'll have to wait and watch whether he has that kind of a connect with voters in Baramati or not. Apart from that, senior leaders like Praful Patel of the NCP as well as OBC strongman Chhagan Bhujbal, they are also being speculated as the front runners to lead the party. What happens next, of course, we'll have to wait and watch. And I ask these questions tonight as Maharashtra plunges into an uncertainty which will have implications well beyond its borders. Let's try and get a perspective on this. I'm joined by Tushar Gupta. He's a senior editor at Swaraj magazine. He joins us from New Delhi. Tushar, good evening. Can I start by asking you, this is a man who, while living, had reshaped Maharashtrian politics. And now with his death, of course, questions are rising as to who will lead the NCP faction of Ajit Pawar. Also, of course, questions being risen on whether the BJP would be concerned, considering the fact that they might have the numbers, but NCP was considered as the hedge in case of any defections or crossovers.
Look, what has happened today is completely unprecedented and unexpected. I don't think any party can prepare for something like this, or the NCP was prepared for something like this. Yes, there were talks of the NCP Ajit Pawar faction and the NCP Sharad Pawar faction coming together. And they did come together in the local polls that were recently concluded. But now, with the demise of Ajit Pawar, the untimely demise of Ajit Pawar, everyone is wondering what's really next for the party. Let's remember they might not command a lot of strength in the parliament, but they have 40 odd MLAs in the assembly. So, who are those 40 odd MLAs now looking to? To begin with, you have Sunetra Pawar, the wife of Mr. Ajit Pawar. Is she going to be enough to lead those 40 MLAs? Is she going to be the new deputy chief minister? That can only be speculated at this point. Then you obviously have the question of Praful Patel, who may not be rooted to the ground that well, but is also one of the contenders to lead this faction of the NCP. And then, of course, you have Mr. Bhajan, another leader who's being speculated might form a splinter group of MLAs and align with the BJP. So all possibilities are on the table. But right now, we also have to look at the possibility of what the MLAs would really want. They are in the government. The BJP and the Shiv Sena together have enough numbers to save the government. So the question of the government stability does not really arise.
So Tushar, because you talked about what the MLAs would want will hold significance, can we also say that now what Sharad Pawar does in the next few weeks and months would hold a lot of importance, considering the fact that he would want those MLAs to come back to his faction? Yes, they had left the Sharad Pawar camp for a reason, and now they will feel a leadership vacuum with Ajit Pawar's death. But now will Sharad Pawar try and reach out to them? What he does, of course, can decide the next course of action.
So, if that is the question before the MLAs, they are now looking at the Zilla Parishad elections that are just a week ahead, right? That is their only litmus test to gauge where can Sharad Pawar take the party from this point. There would be a certain sympathy vote that would gravitate towards the NCP undoubtedly. The party, the factions might align together for some specific wards during the Zilla Parishad elections. But at the end of the day, we have to understand, for all the noise, for all the hysteria around the factions of the NCP, their performance in the municipality elections was quite poor. Even in the strongholds of the NCP, their performance was very, very underwhelming. Now, if you see a repeat of that in the Zilla Parishad elections, the MLAs are also looking at their political future. What if they start to believe that Sharad Pawar is no longer the man that can lead them to a stable political future? What if they start to believe that Supriya Sule, with her limited leadership potential, is not the person who can really lead their party as Ajit Pawar would? That is the question before the MLAs. They're not only looking at their faction, they're also looking at their respective political futures, which would make a lot of them a natural choice for the BJP, and for some, a natural choice for the Shinde Sena. All in all, the bargaining power of the NCP will depend on the upcoming Zilla Parishad elections. The bargaining power of Shinde Sena, the Shiv Sena under Eknath Shinde, would depend how NCP performs. And at the end of the day, the BJP would be more than happy to accommodate as many as these 40 MLAs. But again, in 2029, they'll have a new challenge: where to accommodate these MLAs, where to accommodate the aspirants within their party. So that will be a lot of tussle, but that's a long time from here. So that is not something Fadnavis would worry about right now.
So, in conclusion, Tushar, let me also bring in Parth Pawar, somebody who is being speculated as one of the top contenders. He's the elder son of Ajit Pawar. He's also fought a Lok Sabha election. But of course, his electoral track record has been mixed. Can he be, put at the helm of affairs? Will the NCP take that risk of putting the next generation in a leadership role? Or will they not take that risk? It's too premature to talk about this right now.
Look, Ajit Pawar's shoes are too big to be filled by anyone, even his own children. He was a leader so rooted on the ground, so connected to the ground. And even today, when people were remembering him, recalling their interaction with him, all of them in unison was saying that he was the man you could reach out to, you could connect to. He was the man who listened. Now, the problem is, does his son have that same level of connect on the ground? Does his son have that same amount of confidence within the MLAs? That's the question. The BJP, to just ensure stability within this faction, may turn to Sunitra Pawar, for all we know. But at the end of the day, it's about that one face who can give the confidence to the MLAs, to the faction, and to the party at large. Because remember, when we're talking about the NCP, at the assembly level, there are two factions. But on the ground, for the Zilla Parishad elections, the municipality elections, it's one party. So Sharad Pawar needs to register a resurgence of the party. If he cannot do it, the younger son or the elder son, they do not have that big leadership potential to really fill up Ajit Pawar's shoes. It's a problem.
All right, let's wait and watch how, why these decisions are taken in the next few weeks and months, how NCP moves forward, what Sharad Pawar does, and of course, how the Maharashtra government moves forward now without one of their deputy chief ministers. I'll leave it there. Tushar Gupta, thank you very much for joining us at the moment and giving us an analysis. All right, let's shift our focus now to the United States of America. Donald Trump has been recalibrating his approach on immigration crackdown. Nationwide anger over Minneapolis shooting has pushed the U.S. president on a back foot. Trump's stance on ICE shootings is slowly changing now from combative to crisis control. And the White House is toning down the rhetoric on Operation Metro Surge. The killings of 2 American citizens in Minneapolis has spiraled into a major political challenge for the U.S. president. The immigration crackdown, spearheaded by Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers, is in the spotlight. The armed federal agents are infamous for using force on non-citizens, but the killing of U.S. citizens, Renee Nicole Good and Alex Pretty, has unleashed widespread protests across the United States. And now, Donald Trump is in a firefighting mode. He has deployed his border czar Tom Homan to lead ICE operations in Minnesota and removed Border Patrol official Gregory Bovino. The chaos in Minnesota has also triggered an internal showdown within Trump's Department of Homeland Security, the arm of the Trump administration which oversees ICE operations. Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller, the man behind Trump's sweeping and strict immigration policies, is being sidelined. Reports suggest that Miller was kept out of closed-door White House meetings with the president. This came after he allegedly blamed DHS Chief Kristi Noem and Gregory Bovino for mismanagement in Minnesota after Alex Pretty's killing. The administration that wasted no time to brand Renee Nicole Good and Alex Pretty domestic terrorists has finally shown signs of regret on the killings of American citizens. Donald Trump has called these incidents terrible.
Well, I haven't heard that, but certainly he shouldn't have been carrying a gun. But hey, look, bottom line, everybody in this room, we view that as a very unfortunate incident. Okay? Everyone, unless you're a stupid person, very, very unfortunate incident.
Meanwhile, Tom Homan has held meetings with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor. Donald Trump himself called on Tim Walz and Mayor Frey. He said the talks with both leaders were productive. But taming public outcry will take more than few conciliatory statements. People are still out on the streets, and Donald Trump's most loyal voter base, the gun lobby, is now unhappy, especially after he said that Pretty should not have carried a gun to the protests. This is out of ordinary, as Republicans have been most vocal supporters of the Second Amendment that allows U.S. citizens to carry licensed firearms. Republican ranks are now increasingly growing concerned on the handling of the Minnesota issue. More and more party leaders are calling for investigation, with some even demanding the resignation of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. A key poll promise that rallied Americans behind Trump in 2024 has now become a cause of concern for the American president, with opposition over immigration crackdown mounting inside out. Meanwhile, after facing protests over his immigration crackdown drive, Donald Trump is back in campaign mode. Addressing his first election rally of 2026 in Iowa, he warned of very bad things if Republicans lose the upcoming midterm polls. All 435 seats in the House of Representatives, as well as 35 Senate seats, are up for grabs in the midterms that are scheduled for November this year. Trump cautioned that Democrats will roll back many tax cuts if they seize control of the House.
If we lose the midterms, you'll lose so many of the things that we're talking about, so many of the assets that we're talking about, so many of the tax cuts that we're talking about. And it would lead to very bad things. We got to win the midterms. I mean, I'm here because I love Iowa, but I'm here because we're starting the campaign to win the midterms. We got to win the midterms.
While refraining from directly touching upon ICE protests, Trump claimed that the U.S. border is totally closed. He also boasted about his achievements on the economic front, stressing that inflation has been defeated. The event was not controversy-free as protesters disrupted his speech on multiple occasions. The president hit back, calling them paid insurrectionists. One protester was finally removed from the venue.
You do know they're paid agitators, right? They're paid. They get paid. You know, do you ever see their signs? You know, we used to have protests and you'd have guys making a sign in a basement. These are all paid agitators. That's all they are. They get paid to go and they don't even know what, when they interview them, why are you here? I don't know. They have no idea. They're paid insurrectionists, really, in some cases. They're sickos.
Incidentally, this is not the first time that Trump has expressed fear about the upcoming midterm polls, citing historical trends that have seen the party in power lose seats in the second year of presidency. Earlier this year, the U.S. president told House Republicans at their annual retreat that he will get impeached if he does not win the midterms. And subsequently, he told Reuters about his desire to cancel the polls altogether, while the White House later clarified that Trump was only joking. This has raised concerns about his future plans. For instance, during his Iowa speech, he again hinted at the possibility of running for a third term, which is barred under the American Constitution. Well, from America, let's shift our focus to Israel, where the country may see a snap election if the government fails to pass the national budget. But Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu does not want an election at the moment. Netanyahu has warned that holding elections now would be a mistake. The elections are due to be held by November, but a failure to pass the budget by 31st of March would trigger early elections.
Well, of course I'm concerned, and I said that I think we're in a very sensitive situation, and I think the last thing we need right now is elections. We'll have elections later on this year, but I think it's a mistake to have them now. And I hope that people understand that and act sensibly.
Now, this budget will have its first reading on Wednesday in Israel's parliament, where Netanyahu's coalition relies on support of a former ally. In the last elections, Netanyahu's Likud party won 32 seats in the 120-member Knesset. Its ultra-Orthodox allies won 18, while other members of its alliance won 14 seats. Some of Netanyahu's ultra-Orthodox allies formally left his government last year, but they refused to bring it down. And for now, these ultra-Orthodox parties are reluctant to vote for the budget until the government passes a law allowing their community to avoid military conscription. Netanyahu has expressed hope that the Haredi draft law and state budget bill will pass in their second and third readings, and that the election will be held on schedule. He holds the record for the longest time served as Israel's premier, more than 18 years in total, and he has already said that he intends to run again. Political tensions are mounting in Iraq. The election of a new prime minister is turning out to be a geopolitical affair rather than a political one. The central figure in this showdown is Nouri al-Maliki, who's a former prime minister who comes from the Shia community and shares cordial relations with the Islamic Republic of Iran. The alliance of the Shiite political blocs that holds a majority in Iraq's parliament have picked former Prime Minister Maliki as its nominee for the post of PM. The Shiite political alliance said that Maliki was picked on the basis of his political and administrative experience and that his role in managing the state was well taken. Normally, he would then be nominated by the president, who holds a largely ceremonial role in the country. The Iraqi parliament was set to elect a president on Tuesday, but the vote was abruptly delayed. The move has irked Washington. The White House fears that Maliki's return would bring Iraqi establishment closer to Iran, tipping balance of power in Tehran's favor. The US president himself has jumped into the matter now and issued a sharp warning to the West Asian country. Trump has threatened to end all U.S. support for Iraq if Nouri al-Maliki, a former PM with ties to Iran, returns to this post. Trump said that Iraq would make a very bad choice with Maliki, who has been nominated as prime minister by the largest Shiite bloc. On his Truth Social platform, the U.S. president wrote, and I quote, "Last time Maliki was in power, the country descended into poverty and total chaos. That should not be allowed to happen again. If Maliki is elected, Washington will no longer help Iraq." Pushing back against Trump's warning, Nouri al-Maliki said that Trump's remarks are blatant U.S. interference in Iraq's internal affairs. Maliki has refused to step back from his bid to become the prime minister. In fact, he's vowed to continue his efforts until the end. Donald Trump's statement came days after Secretary of State Marco Rubio voiced similar concerns in a telephone call with the incumbent Prime Minister Mohammad Shia al-Sudani. By convention, a Shiite Muslim has been Prime Minister since the fall of Saddam Hussein, who ruthlessly repressed the Shiite majority in Iraq. Maliki left power in 2014 following pressure from the United States that blamed his sectarian Shiite agenda for giving rise to the Islamic State group of ultra-violent Sunni extremists. He served 2 terms as Iraq's Prime Minister from 2006 till 14, a period marked by sectarian violence, a power struggle with Sunni and Kurdish rivals, and growing tensions with America. The United States wields key leverage over Iraq as its oil export revenue is largely held at the Federal Reserve Bank in New York, in an arrangement reached after the 2003 U.S. invasion that toppled Saddam Hussein. Oil sales account for around 90% of Iraqi government revenues. Well, moving on, global scrutiny of the Taliban government in Afghanistan is back as its new criminal procedure code for courts has now sparked a massive controversy. Approved by Taliban Supreme Leader Hibatullah Akhundzada, this code comprising 10 chapters and 119 articles has been accessed by Ravadri, which is a human rights organization. Let's look at how this code stands apart from modern criminal laws in force across the world. To begin with, Muslims have been defined only as those following the Hanafi school of thought, which falls within Sunni Islam. On the other hand, Shias and non-Muslims like Hindus and Sikhs have been categorized as heretics. The code allows the killing of anyone preaching beliefs contrary to Islam in public interest. People can get a jail term of up to 2 years for mockery and ridicule of Islamic rulings. Meanwhile, the type of punishment in Afghanistan will now be decided as per the perpetrator's social standing. While clerics will get away with mere advice if they commit a crime, the elite shall be summoned by a court. But if the same crime is committed by the middle class, they will be imprisoned. And those from the lower class of the society will be sentenced to corporal punishment. Even though slavery is prohibited in international law, Taliban has legitimized it by citing it in several sections of the criminal code. Extensive use of flogging as punishment has also been allowed. Remember, since taking over control of Afghanistan in August 2021, Taliban has faced flack for its human rights record. Exclusion of women from public life by restricting their right to education and work has become a major point of criticism. Recently, it issued new orders whereby barbers who shave men's beards in Afghanistan can be jailed up to 12 months. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan's health is once again in focus. His party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, or the PTI, has cited what it described as credible reports of a serious eye condition that could lead to permanent vision loss if it's not treated urgently. The party, in a post on X, said that reports indicated that Imran had been diagnosed with central retinal vein occlusion in the right eye, which it described as resulting in a dangerous blockade in the retinal vein. The PTI also claimed that jail authorities were insisting on providing treatment inside the Adiala jail, even though the specialist had reportedly stated that such care required an operation theatre and specialized facilities. The party warned that any permanent damage to Imran's eyesight make the government and Adiala jail administration responsible for obstructing his treatment, despite clear medical advice and court orders. The party demanded immediate access for Imran Khan's family, saying this was necessary so that the public may be reassured about his condition. Imran Khan's sisters, meanwhile, questioned the authenticity of the reports while gathering with PTI supporters outside the Adiala jail. Noreen Khanum said that they had received no official information of an eye condition. In fact, she alleged that rumors were being floated as a tester, adding that the administration lies to worry and disappoint people. On the other hand, Alima Khanum said that the jail administration was not sharing any updates with the family, party, or even his legal team. She claimed that Imran Khan had remained incarcerated for 2.5 years because he refused to seek release through a deal. In a related development, an additional district and sessions judge extended interim bail to Imran Khan in 5 May 9th related cases and to Bushra Bibi in a Toshakhana-linked matter. Imran Khan could not be produced before the court, either physically or via video link, prompting the court to adjourn proceedings and extend interim bail until the 6th of February. All right, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Race to Power. We'll keep getting you news and analysis from India and across the world. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Bye-bye.
And welcome to a brand new edition of South India, a daily dynamic show that will capture the pulse of southern states.
By blending the special stories, the breaking alerts, and the culture developments as well.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We are live on WION The World is One. We are glad you're watching. Time now for fine print American Joker. Let's begin with the headlines. Iranian mission to the United Nations warns that Iran will respond like never before with US attacks, as US President Donald Trump urged Tehran to come to the table and make a deal on nuclear weapons, or the next US attack will be far worse. French President Emmanuel Macron says a standoff with the United States over Greenland is a strategic wake-up call for all of Europe as he hosts the leaders of Denmark and the Danish Autonomous Territory for talks. NCP President Sharad Pawar rubbishes political remarks around Ajit Pawar's plane crash, says there is no conspiracy involved and that the incident shouldn't be politicized. Prime Minister Keir Starmer began the first visit to China by a British premier since 2018, encouraging businesses to seize opportunities on a trip aimed at strengthening ties with Beijing as relations with the US become more volatile. President Donald Trump warns the mayor of Minneapolis, where the killings of 2 US protesters by federal immigration agents has sparked outrage, that he is playing with fire. Authorities across Singapore, Hong Kong and Thailand and also Malaysia have taken urgent steps to stop the highly lethal Nipah virus spreading beyond India, rolling out airport temperature checks and other screening measures. Amazon cuts 16,000 jobs worldwide in the second major round of layoffs at the company in 3 months as it restructures after pandemic-era overhiring and expands the adoption of artificial intelligence tools. The Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Ajit Pawar, died earlier today in a plane crash. 5 people on board, including the crew, were killed when the plane flying from Mumbai crash-landed in Baramati, the leader's hometown. A fresh CCTV footage of the moment of the crash has emerged. A ball of fire emerges as the aircraft crash lands near Baramati Airport. Investigation has been launched into the incident, with a forensic team conducting probe at the spot where the charter plane crashed. On an urgent request from the Maharashtra government, the Indian Air Force has deployed a team of air traffic control personnel along with essential technical equipment from Air Force Station to Baramati Airport to support safe and efficient air traffic management. Besides Pawar, there were 2 other passengers on the plane, along with a crew member and the pilot. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has condoled the demise of the NCP leader, saying his untimely death is irreparable.
इस दुर्घटना ने महाराष्ट्र के उप मुख्यमंत्री अजीत पवार जी और कुछ साथियों को हमसे छीन लिया है। अजीत दादा ने महाराष्ट्र और देश के विकास में अपना बड़ा योगदान दिया है।
Ajit Pawar's sudden death in a plane crash has received mixed political reactions. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee refuses to dismiss the incident as merely an accident, demanding a high-level investigation.
A few days ago, I came to know that from social network that somebody from other party, they gave a statement that Ajit Pawar is willing to leave the BJP. And now what happened today, I need proper investigation under the supervision of Supreme Court.
However, Ajit Pawar's uncle and NCP SP chief Sharad Pawar has ruled out conspiracy in the Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister's untimely demise.
This is a huge loss for Maharashtra. Maharashtra has lost a dynamic and decisive leader. Some people are saying there is some politics behind this. But it was an accident, and there is no politics involved. Politics should not be brought into this.
Following the leader's death in a tragic plane crash, Maharashtra has announced 3 days of mourning. His mortal remains have been taken to Vidya Pratishthan ground for public to pay their last respects. This is the same ground where his last rites will be performed tomorrow at 11 a.m. local time. The longest-serving Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Pawar, held the post 6 times under different governments. He began his political career in 1982. He was elected to the Lok Sabha in 1991 and later vacated the seat for his uncle Sharad Pawar. In 2019, he led a split in the NCP and joined the BJP-led government. Our principal correspondent Disha Yadav was at the crash site, tracking the developments closely. She sent us this report.
Well, in a devastating and shocking incident, Maharashtra lost a very powerful political figure, Ajit Pawar, to a plane crash on Wednesday morning here in Maharashtra's Baramati district. And right now, we are at the Baramati airport near the runway where the incident took place. Right in front of you, you can see the remains of the jet that crashed today morning between 8:45 to 9 a.m. There were 5 people on board, including Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Ajit Pawar. And you can clearly see the condition of the flight. Nothing has really remained of this jet. The site completely has been barricaded here by the police authorities. The mortal remains are just a few kilometers away from the crash site. They have been kept at the nearest hospital where public can go and pay their tribute to Ajit Pawar. We'll also be seeing Prime Minister Narendra Modi visiting tomorrow at his funeral, which is expected to take place at about 11 a.m. And this is the kind of situation we are looking at. Of course, teams are there. They are trying to assess the situation to find out the main cause of what exactly happened, why the plane crashed. But this will take some time, is what the investigative teams are saying at the moment. With video journalist Siddesh, this is Disha reporting here for WION from Baramati, Maharashtra.
Let's move on now. A deadly Russian assault struck deep into Ukrainian territory, hitting a civilian passenger train, leaving 12 dead and several others injured. The attack comes as new figures revealed the staggering human cost of this grinding war. Casualties on both sides now approaching 2 million. President Volodymyr Zelensky has vowed a fierce response as the conflict enters its 4th brutal year.
Russia has launched one of the most fierce attacks on Ukraine. As Ukraine bleeds and Russia presses forward, civilians are again caught in the crossfire. Kiev, Kharkiv, Odessa and Zaporizhzhia are burning. Ukraine says Russia launched Iskander missiles along with over 100 drones.
My good friends died, and it's a little difficult to talk about it. Thank God they had their little daughter sleeping on the first floor, and they, neighbors, were able to get her out right away.
A Russian drone hit a crowded passenger train in Ukraine's northeastern Kharkiv region. President Zelensky condemned the act as terrorism. Zelensky ordered Ukrainian forces to inflict massive losses on advancing Russian troops. Kiev insists It is fighting for survival. Moscow says it proves Ukraine's intent. The rhetoric is as hard as the fighting. Behind the words lies a brutal reality. This has become a war of attrition. Russia has held the military initiative since early 2024, pushing forward with relentless assaults, drone swarms and missile barrages. Ukraine, outgunned and stretched, is digging in, striking back where it can, absorbing blows where it must. A new report from the Center for Strategic and International Studies warned that the number of soldiers killed, injured or missing on both sides of Russia's war on Ukraine could hit 2 million by the spring, with Russia suffering the largest number of troop deaths recorded for any major power since World War II. While there is no official figure released by either Kiev or Moscow, one thing is clear, that the death toll is mounting as the war drags on. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
North Korea is setting the tempo for its next nuclear move. The country fired 2 large caliber ballistic missiles towards the East Sea. Leader Kim Jong-un says an upcoming ruling party Congress will define the country's nuclear future. 4 rockets were launched off the North Korean territory, slamming into waters roughly 350 kilometers away. Kim described the drill as an upgrade to North Korea's strategic deterrent. Pyongyang has repeatedly released images suggesting progress on a nuclear-powered submarine. This test was not a one-off. It marked North Korea's second missile launch of 2026. Since December last year, Pyongyang has staged a steady display of weapons tests spanning hypersonic missiles, long-range cruise missiles, and upgraded air defense systems. Experts say the recent multi-pole rocket launcher blurs the boundary between artillery and ballistic missiles. The upgraded missile combines guided flight with its own propulsion, a design that complicates interception and broadens strike options. As the North Korean leader watched the fire live test, anxiety sipped into the East Asian waters. He warned that the launch would inflict, quote, excruciating mental agony on adversaries. Seoul, Washington and Tokyo moved quickly into 3-way phone consultations, reiterating that the launch violated multiple United Nations Security Council resolutions. South Korea convened an emergency security meeting urging Pyongyang to halt further provocations. The move has landed in a calculated time. North Korea's Workers' Party Congress is expected in the coming weeks. It will unveil fresh 5-year strategic plans for the country's defense and economy. For the world, a clear nuclear signal lies ahead when Kim takes the Congress stage and sets the pace and ambition of North Korea's nuclear posture for the years to come. The emergence of Nipah virus in India has sparked unease in China. Beijing has raised concern ahead of the Lunar New Year holiday when millions come out of their homes. Authorities across Singapore, Hong Kong, Thailand and Malaysia have taken urgent steps to stop the highly lethal Nipah virus spreading beyond India. Airport temperature checks and other screening measures are being rolled out. While the virus has infected at least 2 people in eastern Indian state of West Bengal, including 1 in critical condition, Chinese health experts say it is difficult to transmit and less likely to cause an outbreak in China. Nipah is classified as a priority pathogen by the World Health Organization because of its ability to spark fast-moving outbreaks. Its fatality rate of 40% to 75%, and the fact that there is no approved vaccine or cure. Now, researchers from the Wuhan Institute of Virology have found that VV116, an oral antiviral drug originally developed to treat COVID-19 in China and Uzbekistan. The institute claims the Chinese drug has therapeutic potential to fight Nipah virus. However, the Chinese scientists have said more research is needed to detect how VV116 inhibited the Nipah virus. However, They suggested the drug could follow a similar mechanism to its anti-coronavirus activity. The Nipah virus is transmitted from animals to humans when they come in contact with the bodily fluids of infected bats and pigs. The virus could lead to respiratory problems and even encephalitis in some cases. Currently, there is no cure or vaccine for the Nipah virus due to its high fatality rate. A treatment or cure is the hour of the need, or it's the need of the hour. Studies have found several compounds that inhibit Nipah virus infection. However, no drugs have been licensed for clinical use so far. China says the timing of the health threat is a concern as the Lunar New Year approaches. It's a period of extremely high travel traffic into, within, and out of the country. The 40-day travel rush, known as Changyan, runs this year from February 2nd to March 13th. Last month, China and India eased visa rules for each other in a move aimed at boosting travel between the world's two most populous countries. The fourth edition of India Energy Week is currently underway in Goa. Energy leaders, policymakers and innovators from across the globe are addressing the challenges faced by the energy sector. They are calling for solutions for a sustainable future. In 2023, India launched Global Biofuel Alliance on the sidelines of the G20 summit it hosted. The bloc was launched with Brazil and the United States to further advance global adoption of biofuel as a sustainable measure. 19 countries and 12 international bodies are part of this multilateral alliance. WION's correspondent Dharamjot Kaur spoke to top officials of the Global Biofuel Alliance.
The GBA, or the Global Biofuel Alliance, is not just seen as an environmental club, but as a critical tool in providing geopolitical stabilization in so many areas that we see. It's like if you take at, we call it the global energy trilemma, not even dilemma, trilemma. We are looking at a threshold or an intersection where we have come at the right end, come in at the right time, where we're able to provide a critical solution as a tool for the trilemma. When we talk about trilemma, we're talking about sustainability to the planet. We're talking about consistency in your supply chains, and we're also talking about equity, which is the affordability of all of these. So GBA plays a very strong role in all these three areas, not just among our member countries, but also the industry. Energy independence and, of course, multilateralism, in my opinion, they go hand in hand. So if you are responsible enough to be self-dependent, then you become a very responsible partner in multilateralism. Multilateralism is about partnerships. So if you're able to the more independent you are, the more energy sovereignty you're able to govern, then you're able to provide that kind of support to multilateralism. And I see that India and certain other countries around the world that you see are able to successfully do